Someone asked the question, can happiness come from the ego? Can happiness come from the ego? Let's use ego synonymously with person. Notice how all of your problems in life are personal. Every problem that you experience is personal. So your problems are personal, but happiness is actually not personal. Notice how when you're facing problems in life, you're thinking about problems. You're always thinking about me. You're always thinking about the person. They're my problems. So problems are personal. And when you're experiencing problems, you're always thinking about you, the person. But notice when you experience happiness, you're not thinking about you. When you're experiencing happiness, you're not thinking of you, the person. If you look closely, you'll notice that when there's the experience of happiness, there's just the experience of happiness. There's nothing else other than happiness. There's no person that's actually experiencing happiness. If you look closely, when you experience happiness, there's no person. The person is not present. The person is absent when happiness is present. But when the person is present, happiness seems to be absent. So how can the ego be the source of happiness? It can't. You could actually say that the ego is the opposite of happiness. The ego is what's creating suffering. The ego and suffering are synonymous. So we want to become free of our suffering. This is the search for happiness, that we're seeking happiness. Another way to say this is that we're seeking the end of suffering. Another way to say that is we're seeking the end of the ego, or we're seeking the end of the person. And when we experience happiness, for a brief moment, it's like the person has come to an end. The ego has come to an end. The person has come to a rest. And then happiness is revealed. And it feels like this happiness is coming and going. And as you're going through the awakening process, you'll feel like this flip-flopping. Happiness, problems. Happiness, suffering. Happiness, person, right? It just flip-flops. And it's making you feel like happiness is appearing and disappearing. But in fact, it's actually the ego that's appearing and disappearing. It's the person that's appearing and disappearing. The sense of me. That's the ego. The me that I believe to be. That's the ego. The me that I believe to be. That's the person. That's what's appearing and disappearing. Happiness is ever present. So happiness doesn't come from the ego. Happiness is what you truly are. The ego is like a filter that's blocking or obscuring the happiness that you are. The me that you believe to be is really the only thing that's in the way of realizing that you are the happiness that you seek. So no, the ego cannot be the source of happiness. You are the source of happiness. And it just takes careful examination of your direct experience. This is nothing that I'm asking you to believe. I don't believe anything, and I'm not asking you to believe anything. Just simply pay attention to your own experience. That when you experience happiness, notice how who you think you are is not present. Notice how when you're experiencing happiness, you're not really a person. When you experience happiness, there's just happiness. There's just the awareness of happiness. And the awareness of happiness are one and the same. And you are that happiness. Hopefully this helps. I'll see you in the next one.